Hello and welcome to the channel. The topic that we're gonna deal with today was first published as an article in my blogging site, thepamphlet.blogspot.in, but I felt like it deserved a spot on YouTube, so here it goes. Have you ever wondered why parents and generally most elders in Nagaland urge young people to dream of, work for and aspire only for one thing? Government jobs. Of course, for some aspirants, it comes right from the heart. More often than not, by the time you are about to finish your university course, and even till a few weeks after, you get a feeling that you can achieve almost anything in this world, and in most cases, government job is not in the list. But then reality sets in. You don't find yourself being accepted anywhere, and as you meet more people, they slowly make you realize that cracking a government job exam is your only shot to a peaceful life. And in no time, you find yourself aspiring for government jobs and feeling the exact same thing as the mainstream idea. But it's time we try to analyze what may have triggered this hereditary chain of aspiration among us Nagas, particularly our parents and elders. Maybe they are not to be fully blamed after all. Maybe they are just caught in the system. I've tried to discover and analyze certain points based on facts and my own personal opinion through experience. Point number 1. The effect of colonial era. It has not been very long since our elders had witnessed the might and status of people with authoritative power. This power came from the government and the administrative leaders during the colonial period. To be precise, we are only the third generation since then. Our ancestors witnessed that anyone who came from the administrative sector or who got into the profession of administration suddenly began to enjoy unmatched authority, overwhelming respect, and a more stable and luxurious life. Since then, they began to preach their children the great virtues of being a part of the government. Point number 2. Economic liberalization in 1991. It has only been 29 years since this historic shift of the Indian economy took place. Prior to 1991, which was the time when this stereotype began to establish, there were hardly any privately owned companies and enterprises in India, let alone in Nagaland. Those companies that didn't function under the government were too small and fetched too little. Today many Nagas have started venturing into private corporates or business, and the only limitation is the will itself. But back then, besides the fact that private companies didn't want to invest in poor and unstable place like Nagaland, there were mammoth tax rates, strict regulations of markets, foreign investments like foreign direct investment and foreign portfolio investment were comparatively very low. Thus, there were hardly any Indian or transnational companies that our elders could think of resorting to. At that situation, when they saw some fellow villagers get into government service, they worshipped their fate. So after all this, it is obvious that some of these proceedings would remain engraved in their or our instincts. Point number 3. Job security under the government sector. This point is very common among pro-government jobs. It is indeed true that all private companies function under the policy of minimum liabilities and maximum profit. So if you are not reaching a given target or not performing well enough, you are a liability and you are out of the game in private companies. But in government jobs, as sad and unnecessary that it is, there are lazy Naga officers that still enjoy all the entitlements of his position without repercussions. The saddest part is most of us envy that luxury. Point number 4. Salary and allowance. Before private companies were in existence and plentiful, the only profession that paid well enough were those under the government. This was a major factor when this stereotype was getting established. However, lately even elders have begun to see the striking competition of salary and allowance of government jobs and private jobs. This stereotype was hit hard when the age-old pension scheme was removed for those who joined the government job after 2010. Now the new pension scheme works like other investments such as Employees Provident Fund, Public Provident Fund, Voluntary Provident Fund, etc. However, new pension scheme does give slightly more interest rates than the rest. Nevertheless, in some sectors, you can still see the differences in salary between private and public sector. One such sector is education. There are high school teachers even in Dimapur that get paid meager amounts as low as 4,000 rupees per month. whereas in government sector, teachers teaching at same level receive over 30,000 rupees per month. These circumstances are not difficult to escape the attention of general public. Thus, the stereotype continues to exist. Point number 5. Less or no monetary investment. Seeking to get into government sector through exams requires more labor and less or no monetary investment. While on the other hand, starting a business requires usually both labor and investment. When you decide to get into government sector, you go through a recruitment process that either requires you to be physically suitable or intellectually capable or both, along with whatever level of academic degree that is required depending upon the position. But as for business, while the process is slow, its risk factor still overwhelms most Nagas. The average economic status of Naga families come under middle to poor class, so the topic of starting a business still taunts our rationality, and in most cases your idea is turned down. Even here, it appears that going for a government job seems to be more risk-proof than starting a business. Point number 6. The domino effect. It is a widely known observation in Nagaland that when a member of a family gets into government sector, another member of the same family, especially younger ones, quickly follow up behind. I would like to term this phenomena as the domino effect. Wikipedia defines a domino effect or chain reaction is a cumulative effect produced when an event sets off a chain of similar events. There is also a saying in Hindi, "Upar wala jab bhi deta hai, deta chhappar faar ke." So when Naga elders are encouraging a young lad to give exams, they also want him to set an example for his or her other family members and relatives. So that is it, guys. I hope this video has cleared some misconceptions about the stereotype and that our elders are not to be fully blamed for it. If you are an aspirant of government offices, work hard and be a great leader. If you are into private corporates and business, know that the future is gonna be in your hands. If you are a freelancer, establish your ground and grow bigger. And if you are a lazy bum, please stop wishing for Corona lockdown to last longer. Thanks for joining in, and I'll see you in the next video.